Okay everyone, so for today we'll just be having a project from where we will be creating a jumping game. Okay, so the first thing that we would want to do here is to first make our character jump, right? We'll be also making our moving obstacle, and then we will be stopping the game. So let's try to work on this. Let's try to first make our character jump here. So perhaps one of the characters that I'll be using here, let's go get this in our code block. Let's have change y by 10. Then let's try to go and repeat that by 10 also in our control block. And we also want it to go down, right? So we would want to duplicate this, but instead of y by 10, we'll be changing it to y by negative 10. Okay, so let's see. So we now have a cat that is jumping. Very simple. Now we want to go and try to have some way to communicate with our script here that we've written. So we will try to look for a code block that will have this spacebar. So you can choose any of the keys that are available in your keyboard or on your keyboard. Now if I press on my keyboard now, it's now jumping, right? Now let's try to go and have some sort of a sound. Let's try to add a meow sound. Okay. Now let's have some obstacles. So let's try to go to our sprite sheet here. And let's try to look for, let's say, an obstacle for a cat. What would be a good obstacle for a cat? What does a cat would want to go and try to avoid? A snake? That seems like to be, but it doesn't seem to have a good animation there. Or perhaps just a rock. Let's look for rocks. So we now have, let's go set the size for this around 80. Or perhaps let's have it at 50. So you would see we can try to make that move. Now let's try to go and have a backdrop. Let's go down here. Let's look for a backdrop, a simple backdrop. Let's put the cat here. Let's also have our rock there. And again, go back here. Let's see. Okay. Now, what we want to do here is that we want that rock to glide. So let's try to go to motion. And we would want this to, let's say, we can see that if you try to move this around, you'll see we have that negative 156, negative 121 if we're going up. Now we have positive. Here we have negative, negative 131, 130, because that's related to the coordinates. If we try to look for another backdrop here, if you go down here, you'll see the XY grid. So you would see here the guide from where the X and Y axis are located. So anything that goes up here is going to be positive. Anything that goes down here will be negative, depending on the vertical and the horizontal axis that we have here. Okay, so just take note of that. Let's just go and remove that backdrop because we added that one there. Don't want that. Let's go back here. Now, what do we want to do here? So we want to tell this rock here to move towards the cat, right? So we would want to go and update we have this positive 207. Let's go to X here while selecting the rocks, and then let's have a way to smoothly make this rock move towards the cat. And then we can try to check here. We have here an option. Let's go and choose this glide here, so we will know the spot from where we want to reach that. That's negative 221 on the x-axis and negative 134 on the y-axis. Now let's try to go back here. So this go to will just be going to that specific position. So if we try to, you'll see we went there, and this glide will be making it glide towards that other side, right? Go to glide, and we would want to do something here to make that move continuously, right? We want it to be moving continuously. So we want to create a forever loop. Oops, make sure that you connect it correctly. So you would see here that we can try to just connect it there. And then let's go and look for a when click flag here. And you'll see now we have a rock that is continuously moving towards the left side. And of course, we can try to go and set some way to stop the game here, or let's say stop this from happening. So let's try to go to control. We do have a stop block that we can try to look up. Every once we will be setting a condition here. So let's say we would want to have that wait until, okay, and we would want to have some sort of a sensing block that we can try to insert inside of this wait until block, and we would want to set it to sprite 1, and we can try to rename this. Let's go here and try to rename this as cat. Okay, and go back here and let's stop all once we get to touch the cat. And let's also go wait for the when click. Let's try to arrange our script here. So we can try to put that here and here. So let's try to run this, and you will see once we touch the cat, we will be able to stop. So the logic here, we want the rock to forever move. Once we start the game here, it will go back to the x-axis of 207 and y-axis of negative 135. Then it will glide. You take note, it's like you're giving instructions step by step here. So we want this to run forever, going to that specific position in the x-axis and to the y-axis, and then once we're done running this, we'll go and try to run this glide 1 seconds to negative 221 for the x-axis, and the y-axis to negative 134. So that will be moving from the right side going to the left side, and then just continuously do that until we get to reach this. That's why we have this wait until it touches the cat, and we need to stop all of the script inside of our game here. So let's try to test this out. Okay, so we now have a cat that is moving up, and that was quick for us to give instructions to the So we do need to work on some other things here. Now let's try to go and run this. You would see it stops there, right? So what we want to do here, let's try to go to a specific position. Let's just stop this first. Let's go and try to... So we did see a bug here and we want to fix that bug. So we would want this cat to go to a specific starting position. So let's go to X, and when we click this flag here, so let's try to test that out. And okay, that stops there. So we want to do something here. Okay, it stops there, but instead of having that happening, right, let's try to go, and we don't want the cat to be smiling when it gets to hit the rock, right? So what we can try to do here, we can try to do some edit. Control C, Control V. Nope, let's just duplicate, and we want to switch costume here. I'm just going to go change the eye here, just a quick edit, so I won't be doing something too meticulous here, but we can try to look for, let me just open here a browser. Okay, so let's see, let's try to go and perhaps quickly just switch some of the... Nope, we want to just go and try to... we don't want the cat to be smiling, so let's go select that node here, and we would want it no longer smiling, but instead we want it to be looking like as if it got hurt, right? So okay, and of course we want this to be a bit, because we got hit, right? So we can try to play around further by bending our some parts here, or let's say can move that up here. Because the cat got hurt because it hit its we got to hit by the rock here. So that means, so now the next thing that we want to do here is to go and try to switch costumes every time we get to hit that rock. So from here, what code can we try to put here? So when we click this, we want to have a looks. That will be for costume 1. Okay, so he's smiling. However, once we get to hit the rock, we want to make sure that we get to make the cat look like it got hurt. So let's try to go and switch costume to 2. And how do we try to implement this now? So there are some ways on how to do this, but let's try to first check out here if touching, when click, and we can put here if a control block, if let's have some sensing here, touching rocks, switch to costume 2. Let's see, that didn't work. So what will be the logic that we need to go and try to work on here? Okay, so I've done some testing from the background. So we go drag the touching rocks. Then I think I made a mistake here. We have that smiling cat here, and we should be putting that here, costume 3. So we want to switch to costume 3. once we get to touch that rock. So let's try to again, and if it touches, so that's not working. So what do we want to do here? Go to X, there we go. But once we click the red flag, it's no longer going back to the costume 1. That's not something that we want to happen, right? So perhaps we can try to do some more testing here. So this is going to be working. Let's just go and use when I receive. If wait until touching cat, then let's try to switch or broadcast an event here. Let's try to do it this way. Let's have hurt cat. So it will be broadcasting communication to the script that the cat sprite here, and we want to go and switch to costume 3. Let's try to test this out, and that didn't work. When I receive message hurt cat, of course. Okay, and there we go, we now have that working. So a little bit of troubleshooting, debugging, that's something that is perfectly normal when you're working with writing some code. It's just important that you try to do some testing, of course. So what we did here, we broadcasted hurt cat. If I scroll that up here, once we go and click the start button here, and every time that we get to hit that rock, we make a shift to the face of the cat that we just did when we draw the costume, and that will be the costume 3 in this case. So, and then it will be broadcasting that message hurt cat. So once the hurt cat is received by this sprite, we wrote when I receive line of code here, the hurt cat message, we will then be switching to costume 3. And then wait a few seconds. Perhaps we can wait a few seconds, and then, or we can just try to, or we can try to say wait for a few seconds, then a message will be coming out here saying that game over, or please start game again. That can be something that we can try to implement here. So we can just go and say, let's have a start sound here. Let's have some sort of perhaps is there a sound from where we can try to go and check that is a hurt sound of some sort? Hurt? Ouch? Cough? So let's see, voiced sound. Singer, yeah, wacky, boop, skid, toy honk, snoring. I think nothing here, so we can just try to record our own sound. So we can just say, ouch, ouch. Okay, we can cut that down. Let's play.
Ouch.
Okay, then let's try to just say, ouch. Then let's go here, switch that there, and run that.
Ouch.
Okay, so you would see we got that ouch,
Ouch.
and we can also have a say here, ouch.
Ouch.
Okay, so that's then we can try to just go and what do we want to do here next? We can try to look for something that will be able to use for us to go and
Ouch.
we can add some more obstacles, right, to make the game a little bit more
Ouch.
fun here.
Ouch.
So we can try to go and add a score here every time we get to be able to complete a jump. So let's try to do that. Now let's try to go and go to our variables. Let's try to create a variable for our score. So let's go here, make a variable. Let's just call this score. And okay, so we now have that score there. So now the logic here is that every time the player will be completing a jump, we can try to increase that score by 1. Let's see.
Ouch.
Ouch, that did not work. But that's not
Ouch.
working. Let's see.
Ouch.
What did we... That's because we want to use that score, right? Let's try to test that out again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you would see we were able to go and add score.
Ouch.
And we stop once we get hit by the rock, right? We can also add another obstacle here.
Ouch.
Let's say, for example, you can just go and duplicate this. Then let's have looks. Let's say in here, just to make the... Let's try to go look for looks. And there should be a hide here. And so let's try to go hide it, and let's add a wait 1 second, and then we just want to go and show it after that. Let's see.
Ouch.
That didn't work. And that's because there are two. Let's see. This one. I think they're too closed, so there's a little bit of timing here.
Ouch.
Now we have 2 rocks there. And
Ouch.
so I think we
Ouch.
can try to just go... Let's try to test things out here. We have this one. So we can try to play around with this a little bit. Let's see.
Ouch.
Ouch. Now there's 2 rocks that we need to avoid. After a few... But again, we can try to play around with this a little bit.
Ouch.
Let's just do some testings here.
Ouch.
But I think we need to reset our... Once we get hit, I think we'll need to set some variable here. Set score to 0. Because we have that value of 42, right? And I think we need to set score to 0. And when set score to 0.
Ouch.
Okay, ouch. Let's again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13,
Ouch.
and we get hit. I think because we already stopped all of the script here, this did not work anymore, so I think we don't need this anymore. But if we try to restart, we begin with that score. Right?
Ouch.
One more time.
Ouch.
Okay. So that's it for the meantime. We can try to continue on building this. Don't forget to save your project. cat jumping game. You can save that in your machine here, save to your computer, any directories from where you can go and collect all of your game or scratch files that you're working on. Okay,